Hello everyone, my name is Kris. I'm from CFB Kingston, and today I'm going to take you through a foam rolling and kind of a myofascial release mobility training. So big thing for equipment wise is, as I said, the lacrosse ball. These are pretty cheap. And a foam roller, once again, these can be very cheap or very expensive depending on where you get them. However, anyone will do for this. We're going to be doing full body. We're going to start right at the bottom, right at our feet, and work our way up all the way up to the shoulders. So we're going to do a full body mobilization. So follow along. So to start, as I said, we're going to start with the feet. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll, okay, kind of like the arch of the foot. So we'll work on that area. You're going to try and hit different angles. And this really sets us up, especially movement-wise. If you can set the feet up, it helps put everything else into position. So mobilizing the feet before training is a great idea. Something you can quickly do at your desk, at home while you're watching TV. So great opportunity to do some work on that tissue. So you're going to spend roughly 30 seconds per foot. You can kind of slow down, get some deeper pressure. However, you can kind of control how much that is. And we'll switch up. This can be a sensitive issue or area for people. So please be gentle off the start, and if you feel more comfortable, feel free to apply a little bit more pressure, really get deep in there. You ideally want to relax that foot, so it can actually, instead of the muscle pushing against the ball, it's kind of absorbing the ball and really allowing the tissue to mold around it. Now we're going to come down to the floor. With this one, you can do either lacrosse ball or foam roller, so we're going to be doing the calves. Okay? I like to do about half, so bottom half, upper half, and then go a full roll. So I'll kind of show you that. That way we can kind of limit the amount of movement we need to do at the top. So you're going to kind of support with your hands. You want to start just as that calf muscle comes into play, and we're going to roll to the thickest part here. And get each side. This for runners can be very sensitive. So once again, try to control the amount of pressure applied until you're comfortable. And then feel free to add a little bit more. So once you've done, say, 20 to 30 seconds of that, you're going to come to the middle of the muscle. We're going to work the upper half, typically a little bit of a wider area. And once again, try and relax that calf muscle. Key thing here is we're not going too high, so we're not coming into like beneath the knee joint. We want to stay just below it. And now, if you want to, we can extend that range from bottom to top. Calf muscles relax, and we'll switch up. Same thing. We're going to go bottom half, top half, full. go to the top half. Now also what you can do, if you want to also go back to the left with this as well, is find some of those tougher areas and you're going to kind of flex the foot up towards you and away. This forces the muscle to relax and contract, allowing you to kind of work through those a little bit more painful points if you need to, try and work that tissue a little bit more. Good. We're going to continue with the back side of the posterior side of our legs, and we're going to move into the hamstrings. Similar position for setup. Okay. And we're going to roll from just above the knee joint to just below the hip. So we're not rolling over in the joints. And once again, lots of different muscles back there, so we want to make sure we're hitting different angles as well. So hitting flat, adding a little bit of an angle. Into the inside, hit the groin. Not all the way in, we'll work on that a little later, with just little 30, 45 degree angles. So same thing on the inside, and kind of alternate through those. So let's switch up. Good. Now, to hit the groin area, you're actually going to come on down onto your side. You're going to have the foam roller kind of parallel with you. You're going to bring up your knee and hip basically at 90 degree angles and have the roller placed just above the knee. From here, we're going to roll out so our stomach is to the floor. And allow that roller to hit that inside part of your leg. Once again, we're going to just below the hip, so we're not going right into the hip joint. Good. Now we're going to switch over. Same thing on the side. Hip and knee at 90 degrees. And roll to your stomach. Good. Now, we're going to hit the outside, so that IT band area, which another thing for runners can be pretty tight and sore. So, we're going to start just above the knee joint to just below. And switch. Good. Now for everybody's favorite, the front of the thighs and the quads. These are sore for almost everybody, so try to control the amount of pressure that is applied to the roller at the very start. Work your way into it as you go. So, same thing. We want to make sure we start just above the knee joint, just below the head. And same thing where we want to try and hit different angles, lots of different muscles within the front of the thigh. So allowing you to get a little bit more towards that groin area, but halfway, and leaning out towards a little bit more towards the IT on the outside. Good, and switch up. This one I find a lot easier to kind of stay in the right movement. Use kind of the outside of the roller, so it gives you space on this side. You're not getting in the way of anything. So placing your leg just on the end. Now as we move up from the thighs up into the hips, once again you have the option of roller or lacrosse ball. With the glutes, I actually like to use the lacrosse ball, really find those areas that are a little bit more sensitive, work through them. So once again, not necessarily through the hip joint, but a little bit higher, so as the glutes kind of come into the low back. There's lots of nerve endings there, so be careful. Maybe start with the roller if that doesn't feel enough. Move to the lacrosse ball. So again, with the lacrosse ball, you can be pretty pinpointed in your targets. However, if you do need to use the roller, usually recommend it being on like a 45-degree angle underneath. Okay, and switch. Good. Now as we come into the back, what we want to avoid is the lower spine. So we want to avoid basically from the hip where the spine starts, just until about roughly where your rib cage comes into place. If you follow that around, that's about as far low as you want to roll to, because we want to allow that lower back to be in that stability position, and we want to create mobility in through the T-spine. So I usually have people find that area where you can start and slowly roll up to just below the shoulder blades and back. Now I want you to come all the way to your top position. I want you to support your head with your hands and take a breath in. And as you relax, ground yourself around the roller. Nice and controlled. Inhale back up. Exhale back down. Inhale back up. Exhale back down. All right. Now what I want you to do is go a little bit lower. A few more. A little bit lower to your comfort level. Some people, as you go lower, a little bit harder, can be a little bit more painful. So take your time, stay in control of your movement, don't just throw yourself down. Now, after kind of mobilizing the spine a bit there, what we want to do is really hit the lats. So it kind of starts at that same height in terms of where we were rolling before. However, we want to go a little bit more on our side, so we're going to tilt a little bit at an angle to really hit that lat. So,
once again, play the angle a little bit. This is a bigger muscle. But think just outside your spine, up into your shoulder. And switch up when you're ready. Good.
And now as we move up to the shoulder and chest area, this is where the wall becomes very helpful. So it's very hard to get a lot of those small muscle groups, specifically the lacrosse ball on the floor. But if you can find a nice area in the wall where you can apply pressure to and kind of control the ball on the wall. So I want you to start with a lacrosse ball, kind of right in that trap, soft tissue area, and I want you to kind of roll through it. Okay. Feel free, if you can, work it into the shoulder. Be careful on the shoulder blade. Yes, there's lots of muscles there, but it can be painful over some of the bony parts. Once again, try to not go over the joint itself. And the same thing, once we've done both sides, we're going to come in front, work on the chest area, work on the front part of the shoulder. Kind of work different angles, go up and down, side to side, and switch up when you're ready. This one's all about feel. Kind of find those areas where the work them in. The lacrosse ball can be very pinpointed, can really work through those tough areas. Good. Now we'll switch back to the right shoulder. And we're going to come in front, so we're going to start at the chest. Kind of working side to side. Working up towards the shoulder. Feel free to switch when you're ready. Feel free to kind of readjust with your other hand and put it in spots where it's very sensitive and needs a little bit of work. Typically, for most people, that chest muscle can be pretty tight, especially if you're doing a lot of push-ups or any sort of horizontal pressing like the bench press, this is a typically mobilized a lot and is a great thing to work on if you're heavy into strength training. So that finishes up for today's work. This is a great, basically from your toes all the way up to your shoulders, mobilization. This can be done basically at any point, can be done multiple times a week or once a week, just to kind of keep everything going in the right direction, especially for recovery-wise. Should be done fairly often. Can some of this stuff be done in terms of before and after your workouts? Yes. If you feel there's any sort of areas where you struggle mobility-wise, working through some of these movements, such as like if your quads are very tight, go ahead and roll them before your training. Or if there's stuff that's tight after your workout, you can kind of work through some of that to help make sure the recovery process doesn't take as long. If you're liking these videos and you want to see more of them, make sure to subscribe below, and have a great day.
PSP Kingston, the health and wellness provider for the military community.